college football is not always just a game. There's also drama. One day, a third-string QB is torching a top-5 team. The next moment, fans are blaming ESPN for rigging the whole season. It's not just about wins and losses anymore, it's about the whispers, the late-night theories, and the suspicious timing. So today we're breaking down the most infamous, some hilarious, and suspicious conspiracy theories in college football history. Some are backed by real scandals, others just fan brain rot. But all of them tell you one thing. In this sport, the game is never just the game. Let's get into it. The SEC, ESPN, and college football playoff collusion. In December 2023, Florida State wrapped up a spotless 13-0 season and even beat the toughest opponents by double digits. Yet Alabama, fresh off a single slip-up, snagged that 4th CFP spot. Many fans believe this wasn't just about wins and losses, but about a billion-dollar handshake behind the scenes. ESPN holds the exclusive rights to both the CFP and SEC games, and the SEC reliably delivers primetime ratings. Think of it like a DJ who only spins the hometown favorites because that's what the crowd pays to hear. Critics argue that wall-to-wall SEC coverage and highlight reels subtly prime the selection committee to see those teams as elite, turning the eye test into a multi-million-dollar narrative. The official story says the committee evaluates teams solely on record, strength of schedule, and head-to-head results. But the timing was just too perfect to ignore. Right after Bama's dramatic fourth-quarter rally, ESPN's top analysts were already debating whether momentum deserved a playoff berth. It felt less like random chance and more like a carefully edited trailer that only shows the hero. On the other hand, you can't fake on-field dominance. SEC squads have claimed 11 of the last 15 titles, so it's not wild that they keep rolling into the playoff. Business interests don't always align neatly with collusion theories. Sometimes ESPN even pushes back against SEC-favored scheduling if it clashes with other marquee events. Still, whenever an undefeated non-SEC team gets the cold shoulder, the whispers grow louder. Maybe it's just the SEC's strength and ESPN's savvy, or maybe there's a few hands nudging the dial behind the camera. Either way, the debate isn't going anywhere soon. Cam Newton pay-for-play cover-up, 2010. In 2010, Cam Newton was the biggest name in college football, and suddenly the center of its biggest scandal. After transferring from junior college, Newton lit up the field for Auburn, but off the field, things got messy fast. Many fans believe the NCAA and the SEC looked the other way to keep their golden boy on the field. Here's what happened. Cam's father, Cecil Newton, was accused of asking Mississippi State boosters for as much as $180,000 to get Cam to sign with them. This claim came from Kenny Rogers, a former MSU player who allegedly acted as a go-between. That's a clear NCAA violation. Auburn didn't pay, Cam went there instead, but the smoke was thick. On November 30th, Auburn declared Cam ineligible after the NCAA found Rogers did act like an agent. But then, plot twist, Cam was reinstated one day later. The official story says Cam didn't know what his dad was doing, and neither did Auburn. So the NCAA said, he's good, and let him suit up for the SEC title game. Critics argue the timing was just too perfect to ignore. One day he's out, the next he's in, just in time to keep Auburn's undefeated season, and the millions riding on it, alive. Cam went on to win the Heisman, the SEC, and the national title. There's no concrete proof of a cover-up, but the rapid reinstatement, the lack of real penalties, and the NCAA's sudden shrug emoji left people suspicious. Was Cam truly clean, or did the system decide college football needed its superstar more than it needed answers? Referee bias and game fixing. Every college football fan has had that one moment. A bad call, a missed flag, a suspicious spot on 4th and inches, and when it happens against your team? Suddenly, it's not just a missed call, it's a crime scene. Many fans believe referees, especially in conferences like the Big Ten, subtly favor powerhouse programs to keep the right teams winning. And while there's no footage of a ref slipping an envelope under the table, the numbers tell an interesting story. One major study looked at 38,000 penalties between 2012 and 2015. It found that top-tier teams, think playoff hopefuls or traditional blue bloods, got flagged less often for subjective stuff like holding or pass interference. In simpler terms, refs gave the big brands more leash. That's like giving the popular kid a longer lunch break, while everyone else gets detention or not having a hall pass. Critics argue that this isn't full-blown corruption, but rather a subconscious lean. Refs, like anyone else, feel pressure. When 100,000 fans are screaming and millions are watching, maybe you don't want to toss a game-changing flag on Ohio State in the fourth quarter. The official story says there's strict oversight, rotating officiating crews, and no proof of any organized plot. No whistleblowers, no scandals, no Tim Donaghy moment. Just a lot of fans squinting at slow-mo replays and yelling, "How is that not targeting?" So, is it a shadowy operation to boost TV ratings or just human error under bright lights? Nobody knows for sure. But in college football, when every play can make or break a season, even one missed flag is enough to start the conspiracy machine. But if you think sketchy flags are suspicious, wait till you see what happens when a team wins too big at just the right time. 2014 Big Ten title game was rigged. In December 2014, Ohio State didn't just beat Wisconsin, they absolutely vaporized them 59-0 in the Big Ten championship game. It was the biggest shutout in title game history, and it came at the perfect time, right before the College Football Playoff Committee had to make its picks. Many fans believe the game wasn't just about winning, it was about making a statement, and not a subtle one. Urban Meyer, Ohio State's head coach, admitted he kept his starters in long after the game was in the bag. The goal? Nail the eye test. Basically, to look as scary and dominant as possible for the committee watching from their couches. Critics argue that the timing was just too perfect to ignore. With their third-string quarterback starting, OSU needed something big to jump into the playoff. So they didn't just win, they ran up the score like they were trying to qualify for a video game tournament. Fans on Reddit and message boards went full detective mode, calling it staged, strategic, even arranged. But the official story says it was just a masterclass. Ohio State had future NFL talent, and Wisconsin picked the wrong night to play their worst football. Blowouts happen. Sometimes it's not a script, it's just one team clicking and the other collapsing. There's no whistleblower, no shady ref audio, and no smoking gun. So while the conspiracy theory makes for good debate, the simplest answer might be the right one. Ohio State just went nuclear, and the playoff committee liked what they saw. Playoff always seems to favor SEC teams. The SEC doesn't just win championships, it owns the calendar. Over the last 15 seasons, SEC teams have hoisted the trophy 11 times. And many fans believe that dominance isn't just earned on the field, it's baked into the system. Here's why. ESPN has an exclusive deal to air both SEC games and the college football playoff. That means SEC matchups get primetime slots, flashy graphics, and wall-to-wall coverage. Critics argue that this media spotlight builds a narrative. SEC teams aren't just good, they're untouchable. Even their losses get rebranded as quality setbacks. The football equivalent of calling a car crash a learning experience. Take a one-loss SEC team versus an undefeated non-SEC program. Guess who gets the benefit of the doubt? The SEC team, because they lost to another SEC powerhouse. Fans point to teams like Florida State, Ole Miss, or Miami, left out of the CFP despite strong resumes, as examples of the system favoring the familiar. The official story says the committee uses data, strength of schedule, game control, metrics galore. But the timing of decisions like Alabama jumping the line in 2023 always seems a little too perfect to ignore. Lately, the SEC and Big Ten have teamed up to push playoff expansion, including more automatic bids for themselves. Some say that's a power grab, others see it as overdue reform. Either way, the SEC's grip on college football isn't just about wins. It's about leverage, on the field, in the boardroom, and on your screen every Saturday night. Notre Dame, NBC, and the power of the spotlight. Since 1991, Notre Dame has been doing something no one else in college football does, playing every home game on their own network. Thanks to an exclusive deal with NBC, the Fighting Irish have had Saturday national TV coverage longer than most of Gen Z has been alive. Many fans believe this non-stop spotlight gives Notre Dame an edge in the college football playoff discussion, even when their resume doesn't exactly scream top four. Here's the setup. Notre Dame's NBC deal currently brings in upwards of $22 million a year, with reports suggesting it could climb to $60 million annually. That's more than many entire conferences make. And unlike most programs, they don't need a conference to stay financially powerful or nationally visible. Critics argue that all this media exposure keeps Notre Dame top of mind with fans, analysts, and maybe even the CFP committee. When your games are on a major network every week, while others are stuck on regional streams, it's easier to shape the narrative. And when that narrative is historic powerhouse returns to glory, people buy in fast. The official story says CFP picks are based purely on performance, record, schedule, quality wins. And it's true. Notre Dame still has to win games. No amount of NBC airtime can fake a strong season. Plus, Notre Dame's independent schedule can hurt them, making it harder to line up elite matchups. Still, the timing of their frequent playoff relevance, even in questionable years, leaves many fans wondering if brand power outweighs box scores. Gambling scandals in college football. Every college football fan has seen a weird mistake, a dropped snap, a sudden fumble, a wide receiver running the wrong route at the worst possible time. Most of the time, it's just nerves or a blown assignment. But sometimes the timing is so off it feels deliberate. That's why many fans believe gambling pressure has quietly influenced players and even coaches to tank games or specific plays on purpose. This isn't just fan fiction. In one of the clearest cases, several University of Toledo athletes were caught in a point-shaving scheme. From 2012 to 2015, federal investigations revealed players across football and basketball were being paid to manipulate outcomes. Running back Quentin Broussard admitted to fumbling on purpose in the 2005 GMAC Bowl for $500. Not exactly a Powerball jackpot, but enough to show it was real. Critics argue this wasn't just a one-off. There's also the old-school Brooklyn college fix in the 1940s, and the SMU scandal in the 80s, which wasn't about game throwing per se, but created the kind of anything-goes culture that made gambling influence easier to sneak in. The official story says today's NCAA works closely with law enforcement to crack down on any hint of this. And with sports betting now legal in many states, tracking shady betting activity is way easier than it was 20 years ago. Still, the fact that one guy fumbled away a bowl game for less than the cost of a new Xbox? Yeah, that's gonna keep the conspiracy crowd on high alert. Flat football field. Joke. Okay, let's get this out of the way. No, football fields are not sloped, curved, or shaped like skate parks. But the flat football field theory? That's the internet's favorite joke about how absurd college football conspiracies can get. Many fans believe in wild forces shaping the game. Rigged rankings, biased refs, shady TV contracts. So to mock that mindset, some genius decided, hey, what if the field itself isn't even flat? And boom, the perfect satire was born. It's like the flat earth theory's sporty cousin, except everyone's in on the joke. You'll see fans drop the line, the field wasn't flat today, after a weird loss. Usually when their team gets cooked in ways they don't want to accept. Fumbled snaps, refs with selective vision, clearly someone must have tilted the field. The official story, and common sense, says fields are strictly regulated. Any actual tilt would be illegal, obvious, and probably send players sliding like it's a slip-and-slide bowl game. But that's not the point. The joke works because it's ridiculous. It pokes fun at fans who treat every bad call or loss like a CIA-level cover-up. Critics argue it's a fun way to cool off heated debates to say, maybe it wasn't a secret plot, maybe we just didn't play well. So no, the turf isn't rigged, but some fan theories? They're just slanted enough to make this one feel almost believable. Conference power plays and sabotage. In college football, the real games don't just happen on Saturdays. They happen in boardrooms, TV contracts, and playoff meetings. Many fans believe that major conferences like the SEC and Big Ten don't just play to win, they play to control. Whether it's playoff expansion talks or media rights wars, the idea that these conferences actively sabotage their rivals has taken hold. Take the college football playoff expansion drama. In recent talks, the SEC and Big Ten pushed for a 16-team format, giving themselves 4 automatic bids each, double what the ACC and Big 12 would get. Critics argue that's not expansion, it's empire building. It feels less like a playoff plan and more like the Hunger Games. Stacked districts, uneven odds, and then there's the Michigan sign-stealing scandal. A Wolverines staffer reportedly ran a multi-year operation to decode and videotape opponents' signals, giving Michigan a massive edge. That wasn't just competitive spirit, that was spy movie-level strategy. Many saw it as proof that behind the scenes, anything goes. The official story says this is just aggressive strategy, not sabotage. Conferences lobby, negotiate, and posture, but they do it out in the open. No hidden meetings, no cloak and dagger interference with recruits. Still, when power, money, and playoff spots are on the line, many fans believe the timing of these moves and who benefits most is just too perfect to ignore. So is it sabotage or just the new college football normal? Maybe both. But in a world where one deal can shift the entire playoff landscape, it's no wonder fans think someone's always playing chess while the rest of us watch checkers. Players faking injuries to slow down fast offenses. If you've ever watched a red-hot offense moving like a bullet train, no huddles, no mercy, and then suddenly someone on defense crumples like a folding chair for no apparent reason. Yeah, you've seen it. This isn't just bad luck. Many fans believe it's a tactical flop. One infamous example, Tennessee versus Alabama. Just as the Vols' offense was speeding up, a defensive back flopped to the turf mid-count. Trainers rushed in. Drive paused. Momentum? Gone. And just like that, a fake injury can turn into a timeout you didn't have to spend. Critics argue this strategy lets teams cheat the tempo system. No huddle attacks like Tennessee's are designed to exhaust defenses. But if defenders get hurt, every time the offense starts cooking, they get free breathers. Coincidence? Maybe, but the timing was just too perfect to ignore. The official story says fake injuries are hard to prove. You can't accuse someone of faking pain, but the NCAA clearly saw through the acting. Because starting in the 2025-26 season, if medical staff run onto the field after the ball's been spotted, the team loses a timeout. No timeouts? That's a 5-yard penalty. And the SEC isn't playing either. They're hitting teams with fines, public reprimands, even coach suspensions for repeat offenses. Some coaches want even stricter rules, like forcing injured players to sit out an entire drive. Others defend the tactic, claiming legit cramps and exhaustion blur the lines. Still, the message is clear. The NCAA's done watching the drama class on defense. Whether it's strategy or sabotage, fake injuries are officially flagged. If you enjoyed this, we're dropping new breakdowns all the time. Hit subscribe and join the CFB Almanac channel so you never miss the next plots.